Hi everyone. So today I thought I would show you how I make my masterboards for my cards. I've got a few products that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the Distress Oxides. I've got the Ripe Persimmon, Black Soot, Vintage Photo and Peacock Feathers. I've chosen this lovely stamp set by Polka Doodles and this is called Meow You Doing. We're going to be using this big cap for our main image, but we are going to be using these little elements to create our masterboard. So that's that stamp. I've chosen this piece of fawn stripy mottled background piece from the Sentimentally Yours, and this is the wood grain accents. So that's the backing piece of paper that I'm going to be using. I'll also choose a sentiment from my stamp set. The way I see it, a masterboard is when you take either a plain piece of white cardstock or a piece of patterned cardstock and you just create your own background. Now you're better off if you're using patterned cardstock to pick a pattern that is not too busy and a pattern that hasn't got too many colours in it already. Otherwise, it's not going to work. The next thing you need to do is decide which way you want this to go before you start stamping on it. So I want this long ways. Now, if we look at this stamp set, you'll see that there's the main image and then you've got all these tiny little elements within this set. And it's the tiny elements that we're going to be playing with today. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sentiment that says, "Have a Pawsome Day." And this is quite tiny. I'm going to pop that onto my stamping block. And I'm going to ink this up in, I think I might use the Versa Fine Onyx Black for this. So I'm going to ink this one up in the Versa Fine. Making sure I got that the right way around. And I'm just going to stamp this anywhere. And I'm just going to keep repeating that all over my piece of background paper. You can go off the edge with this. In fact, it's better to go off the edge with things because then it makes the cardstock look like it's a continuation. And just pop these down wherever you want these to go. Rotating your stamp as you're doing this, just so that we get a mixture of different ways. And we just pop another one there. So that's our first little bit of stamping done on our masterboard. I've seen that stamp off and I'm gonna pop that right back where it belongs. There we go. Pop the lid on the ink and just give this a bit of a wipe down. The second one I want to do is there's a lovely ball of wool. So I'm going to take that stamp off. Again, I'm going to pop that on my stamping block. And this time I'm going to ink this up with the Distress Oxide and I'm going to be using the Ripe Persimmon. And just do exactly the same again. Go all over your image in lots of different areas. You can go over your writing, off the page. Just get that wherever you think you want that to go. Now, if you're going to try this, it's your masterboard. You can put on this exactly what you want and lay it out exactly how you want it to be. And I think this is what makes our cards unique, because this pattern you will not find anywhere else because I've created it. I'm going to put one over there, and I think I might just pop one there in the middle, and I think we need another one just there. So that's ball of wool. I'm now going to take in the peacock feathers, and for this one I'm going to use the fish in the fish bowl, and I'm going to ink this one up in the peacock feathers. Now it is good to have light and dark, so as you can see I'm just filling in wherever I think I want this to go. I am going over some of the other images, just filling in some gaps. And this masterboard is really starting to take on its own look. I'm going to take that one off the page. I'm going to go off the page there. I'm going to go off the page on this side, and maybe off the page there, and I do want something up in that corner. So that's the fish in the fish bowl, done in the peacock feathers. We'll pop that one back, and I think I just want to do one more. I think that one would be quite nice to do the cat's head. So I'm going to pop that on my block, and this time I'm going to take in the vintage photo in the distress oxides, and we're going to ink up this cat. And now it's just a case of going in and filling in wherever you think you want these to go. They are going to come off the page there. I'm going to pop one up in that corner. I'm going to go off the page there. I am going to pop one there. And can you see how this is really starting to come together? And by the time we've finished making the card, it's almost like you bought the backing paper specifically to make the project that you're going to do. So I think that's most probably all I want to do with the cat's head. Now we've still got quite a bit of open spaces there, so I could actually go in with one more. And I think for this one I'm going to take in the fishbone. So just pop your tiny fishbone on, or whatever it is you're using, and this time I'm going to go in with black soot. Now black soot is more like a grey colour, so in comparison to black it looks more grey. And I'm just going to pop a few of these, rotating my stamp. Just filling in those areas. Let's pop one there. And as you're doing this, you can see where you want to pop things. I have one coming in off the page over there. think we'll have one going off the page there. I think that's as much as I want to do. Just clean that one up, pop that one back, put my lid on and give this a good wipe down. So this is what they call a masterboard. We are going to let this dry, but this is the piece that we're going to cut up for our first matte layer. So I'm going to set that to one side to dry. For our card base, we're going to make a 6x6 card. So I'm going to fold a piece of A4 cardstock in half. And I'm going to give that a really nice burnish. And then I'm going to take in my trimmer, and this actually, once folded in half, is 5 7/8. So we're going to just turn this around and cut this at 5 7/8. So then we've got a perfect square. So that's our card blank cut ready. And the next thing I want to do is stamp my image. So I'm taking in a piece of scrap card. I'm going to place my image down. Now I'm going to be fussy cutting this. I'm going to take in my stamping block and we're going to pick that one up. And I am going to ink this one up in the VersaFine Onyx Black. Just get that where I want that and give that a really, really nice press down. There we go. So there's our lovely pussycat. And then I'm going to colour these in very quickly with some water pens. So I'm going to take in a very light pink. I'm going to pop some down on the side of my glass mat. And I'm going to spray that with some water. And the easiest way to colour thing is to give it a bit of a colour wash first. So just go all over your image. And you won't really see much at all, but we're just laying down the foundations. So we're just giving that a really nice colour wash. So all over that image. There we go. I'm avoiding the bow at the moment. I don't want that to have any pink colour wash in it. And the reason I've chosen pink is because when we decide on the colour of the actual cat, the pink will create the lightness. Now I thought I would have this as a ginger cat, and I want to see which is the, I think that one's too bright. That one's a bit dark. And that one's even darker. Maybe we should go with more of a, nope. Yeah, I think that one's the right colour for what I want. So this is, they don't have names, it's just an orange. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to pop some ink down on my glass mat. I'm going to water that down. I'm going to take back in my water brush. And we're just going to go around the image again. This time I'm coming in from the side and I'm avoiding going right to the middle. And we're going to come around the bottom like so. I'm going to come down his legs, not worrying too much. And then we're going to go around his tail. And I'm just going to leave a tiny bit of pink there. So that's as much as I want to do with the first wash of the orange. Give that a wipe up. And this time I'm going to pop the orange back down on my mat again. But I'm not going to water that. I'm just going to take my brush as it is and I'm just going to pick up on some of these areas that I think are going to be slightly darker. So around his pools, in between his claws. And can you see it's not about being perfect, it's about just getting some colour down. And leaving a few little areas where you think there might be some light. So that's his body done. And the back of his, so I'm going to have to put some more, yeah. There we go. And then if I turn this around, and we can now do his head. So we're going to come up and around the ear. We are going to go just across the top. Up and around this ear. I enjoy using the watercolour pens more than I do the alcohol pens. But if you want to colour this in with your alcohol markers, that's absolutely fine. We've all got our preferences. And I'm just going to go around the bottom. And I'm not making this look smooth, but just popping some ink down around the edges. I am now going to just spray one tiny little bit onto what's left. And I'm just going to drag this in. So what we're going to get now is 3 tones going on. I'm going to have the dark, the medium, and the light. And I'm just going to very quickly go all the way over this. Down over his legs. There we go. So I'm now going to take what's left on here and I'm just going to very quickly go over that white space. And that's our cat coloured in. I am going to take the black to do his nose. There we go. So that's his nose done. And then if you pop some more black down and just pick that up without the water. We can just bleed some more of that in just to make that a bit darker. There we go, so that's his nose done. And then all we've got to do now is his bow. So this is when we can decide if he's a he or a she. I think we'll have him as a he. If we take back in our masterboard, we can choose any one of these colours, and I'm going to choose the peacock feathers. So I'm going to put a little bit of ink down on my mat. I am going to water that down, and I'm going to knock a bit of that off, and I'm going to just give this bow a colour wash. Like so. So give that a wipe up. Pop down a little bit more. No water this time. And just come in and put some in some areas where you think it would be darkest. And there's our cat all coloured in. Now I think we should give this a tiny little dry off. So on number 1, that's fine. Okay. So the cardstock I used was just a regular 300 GSM cardstock. It is not a watercolour cardstock. Now if you use watercoloured cardstock, you can really saturate your images and, you know, apply lots of layers of colours and depth and all the rest of it. But if you're just using a regular cardstock, it's fine, just don't oversaturate it. Now I'm cutting this out freehand, and I want quite a nice biggish border around this. When this is cut out, it almost looks like ephemera. Point of there. There you go. So there's our cat all coloured in and cut out. And that's going to be our topper. So if we take in our card base, so this is 5 7/8 square. I'm going to take in my masterboard, which is now dry, and I'm going to cut this down. So it's down to 5 5/8. That's going to give me 1/4 inch border. And then the same again. So this is our matte layer for our card. So this is going to go down with glue. So a nice bit of glue all around the edges. And a nice bit in the middle. And making sure we've got this the right way around. I'm going to line that up, and we're going to let that fall. That's our matte layer done. Beautiful. Now what I thought I would do is this tiny spare piece of cardstock, I'm going to cut down. I think I'm going to cut this down to 2.5 in width, 5 5/8, and then 2 1/4. There we go. So that's going to sit on top of our base there. So I'm going to glue this one to the base. So again, get that nicely lined up. There we go. And then this one we are going to put up with some foam tape. So if we just run a few lines foam tape all around the edges and just a few tiny pieces in the middle. I'll give those a nice burnish. And then I'm going to remove all those completely. Make sure that's the right way up. This one I'm going to take right to the left of the card. I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch. And I'm just going to pop that one there. So that's given us some height. Now our cat is really nice and dry, so I'm just going to give that a little bit of shape. And the cat is going to go just there. So I am going to be using some pin flare glue for this. And I know that this side I'm going to need more than this side. So I'm going to put quite some high blobs on this side. And then on this side, we can spread this about a little bit because this is going to be quite flat. Now you don't have to use glue gel, you can use foam pads. I better put a tiny bit just in the middle. There we go. So our cat is going to sit just in the middle like so. And give that a gentle press down, and if you are using glue gel, just press it down enough so that you feel it bite on the card. There we go. So there's our adorable cat, looking quite handsome there. Foil back on me pin flare. And then all I need to do for this now is the sentiment. So because this says have a pawsome day, I thought I would use meow you doing. Just going to pop that down on my mat nice and straight. And pick that one up. Versifying Onyx Black. So just ink up that stamp. And stamp that down just there. There you go. Meow you doing. I'm going to give that one a good clean up. Pop that one straight back. And this one, I think I will just cut this out with my paper trimmer. So get that nicely lined up where I think I want that to be. There. Lovely. And just take off the end there. And this one, I think it would go at the bottom. So I know that this side needs more glue gel than the other end because of the depth. So I'm going to put a nice blob there and there, and then this end, just going to spread this out. Not everybody likes using glue gel. I actually love it. Hear a lot of people complain about it drying up, but I don't seem to have that problem. I think because I use it so much, it hasn't got time to dry up. And I'm just going to pop this roughly in the middle like so. And if we just press that down so that it grabs, so that is sat off at the end of the center panel like so. And how beautiful is that? So to follow this card on through, I thought what I would do is pop the sleeping cat in the middle. I'm going to ink this up in the VersaFine Onyx Black, and hopefully this will stamp okay first time. So I'm going to get that nice and level. Pop my stamp down in the corner, and I'm just going to give that a really nice stamper. There we go. So we've got our really pretty, or handsome chap if you like, on the front. Got our masterboard, which we created ourselves. Our sentiment, meow you doing, and our pussycat that's fast asleep on the inside. Plenty of room to either stamp or write another sentiment. And how lovely is that? Well, I hope you enjoyed my little video. I hope you've learnt something, and I hope you have a go at creating your own masterboards. I'm going to pop that there until that ink dries. Anyway, thank you for watching. Until the next time. Bye for now.